Right. Well, let's chat to a couple of entrepreneurs who have been exhibiting at the Buy It Local Summit. We're hoping to be joined shortly by Zanele Mafereka, who's the director of Reveli Jewelry. But we do have right now Sihle Dube, who's the founder and creative director of Sbhiva Clothing brand. Let's find out what that's all about. So good to have you on the program, Sihle. How has the summit been? Has it been a good one for you? Was business done? Because that's what it's all about.
In actual fact, it was a very good summit. I managed to make a couple of sales. I also interacted with a lot of potential clients, people that I think will also aid into my brand's growth. So it was a very good summit.
Okay, we'll talk about the goings on at the summit, but let's start with you and your brand. What is it that you do, and what is this name, Sbhiva?
So I'll give you a nice story because this is actually a township dream. Starting actually from the name Sbhiva is a street name for a beetle. So in Soweto, we call different components and actually products by nicknames to bring them closer to our heart. So I started this brand based on my love for the classic beetle, which was passed down to me by my brother. I had a couple of people bother me on the road asking me if I'm selling, and I thought, let me actually create something tangible and not sell my car. So I created a product, started with a few caps and t-shirts, and I got more offers from there. And then I started becoming more creative and actually, extracting a lot of elements from the classic beetle, fusing it into my brand. So I trade at the playground in Braamfontein every Saturday, and I've sold more than 1,000 products in the last 5 years.
Wow. This is fascinating. So what you did actually is you started with the brand and then the products caught up with the brand.
Exactly true. So I must say a lot of South Africans and the international community have supported me. They believed in my dream. And from then on, I had to listen to the response from each and every customer, and that's how the brand has grown.
That's fantastic. So how does a summit like this help? What came out of it for you?
It's the networking, the access to other markets, potential markets, where we do corporate branding, also corporate gifting. So a brand like mine, can supply one or two stores. At the moment, we are at Edgar Sandton City. That's where we're trading in access to the online trade. So we get a lot of customers who come in the form of someone who's buying a garment, and then we also get buyers who want different brands or our signature in their shops. So you'd have someone who owns a couple of shops who'd poach us and say, this design can fit into my shop. And you also get, a good network of people that can plug you in the international community and brand expansion. We also get suppliers who do printing, who do embroidery, who supply us with fabric. So it's good the summit was good in a sense of giving us, an access to a network that builds our brand.
That's fascinating. So you were able to find some suppliers and also customers in the same place. What else did you learn from being in a gathering with like-minded people? I'm sure that they had stories that they could share with you that probably helped you think about how you want to move forward.
I found a lot of people resonate with the Beetle being, a classic car. And, they were inspired by the fact that a boy from Soweto created a brand from a passion. So it's a passion translated into a business. So from taking something, as something very close to your heart and then transcending it into a product, and interacting with professionals in a sense that you interact on an international market. You find suppliers from different walks of life. So it's that whole perspective of creating I mean, plugging into the economy. Small businesses are actually making an impact in South Africa, and I found that to be so fruitful, where we were supported by network, and actually having delegates buying into our product and wanting to see us grow bigger than what we are.
So the whole summit is about buying local, and what I get a sense of is, yes, do local products, but have a local flavor. Don't try to do international products locally. Be uniquely South African in your products.
Oh, definitely true. I mean, we tell different stories through different styles. We have one of our T-shirts, which is based on a real image that we captured in a lady in Soweto, is telling a story of small boys aspiring to own a car one day, but they start with wired cars and a car made from recyclable matter like a milk or ngomazi bottle. So boys making cars out of those recyclable matter, and eventually dreaming to own a car one day. So we tell that story through different styles, and we actually fuse a lot of creativity in our brand. And it's the story at the end of the day that actually sells the brand.
I mean, you became a businessman by accident, pretty much. I wonder if there was a steep learning curve in terms of actually now, okay, I've got a business. How do I do this? How do I run a business? Did you get help along the way? You must have learned some of it on the job, literally.
No, definitely true. I work with a lot of professionals. For me, this was a self-taught business venture, but I actually come from a computer science background, and I fused the technicality into my clothing. So I'm very meticulous, and I pay a lot of attention to detail. So I can say, working with professionals and actually doing research, taking the risk and asking questions actually got me, into producing a beautiful brand that, a lot of people can learn from, that are starting and actually giving, inspiration to other South Africans.
You mentioned international markets. Are you telling me then that we can believe that we can compete?
Most definitely. We've also showcased at bigger events like the Messe Frankfurt. We've done the Ren show, so we do have the potential actually to compete internationally. There's actually talent in South Africa.
All right. What's your advice to young people who might have a dream, but think that maybe it's a bit too big? These kinds of things happen to other people who are lucky and are connected. I have no chance.
I always say, because part of our essence of giving back is, sharing our experiences with other people so as to give them hope. So I would say do research. There's access to the internet this day and age, and take a taxi, take a trip to a shop, speak to the owners if you find one of the owners of the shops. Speak to them, ask the right questions, ask them the hows, the what, the when, who did you work with. That will give at least a possibility into someone else who's got a brand or a seed idea, to start something by themselves. But most importantly, take the risk, begin.
All right. So what do we say to customers, consumers, people in South Africa? Why should we buy local? What difference will it make?
It actually has a good trickle-down effect in a sense that it feeds homes. It also contributes a lot into the economy where, the whole value chain, we share the rand from a supplier, someone who depends on supplying material, someone who sews. For example, I also work with my my friend's mom, who actually does my crochet beanies. And my labels are done by a guy called Label, who does leather work. So that collaboration of small businesses go as far as, feeding families, feeding into dreams, giving people hope, giving them that access to wake up and, be creative. So it's very important to support local. Our brands are of superior quality, and we also giving hope that, something that is made local isn't inferior. We are ready to provide, the best quality locally and to the world.
Sihle, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope I'm not too old to wear Sbhiva clothing. I think we should have a conversation. Thanks so much for joining us. Wonderful testimony, beautiful story, and let's hope it inspires a generation of entrepreneurs. Sihle, thanks so much for talking to us.